Hey guys, it's the Blinding Creeper. Today I'm just going to be doing a little tutorial again. So you're probably wondering, Creeper, why have you got some WD-40 and some toilet paper? Well, or any type of cloth or whatever you're can use. Well, as I said, or as I go out shooting, the rifle gets moisted from day-to-day use, and rust can form, little spots of rust. Now, you probably say, Creeper, don't you clean your rifle? Yes, I do, but the whole point is sometimes you don't get the whole lot. Now, I've cleaned mine, but there's no harm in doing it again. So, I have my Ruger. As you can see, it's a lot more easy to break. So yeah, so you're going to need an air rifle by any means. Make sure it's unloaded, so make sure you can see all the way down the barrel, and make sure it's unsafe. Always make sure the weapon is safe, even though there's nothing in it, so that, you're probably saying, Creeper, why is it on paper as well? That's because any excess oil that can get underneath here will go on the paper instead. So you have your rifle that's probably got some rust on it or dirt. Dirt is hard to get off when it's solid on metal, so yeah. So you get your whatever you're using. I'm going to use toilet paper for this because it's easy and grabbable, and you're going to want some sort of oil. Now I'm using my stepdad's oil from his work, and it works like a beast, and it is it actually does not have a name, so but anyway, that's what the can is, and it's basically WD-40, which will work as well. Now, be warned, make sure you let the oil set, and then you leave for about roughly 60 seconds, let it set, and then go over it with another piece of cloth. Not the same cloth, a different cloth. You don't need to worry about the barrel if it's covered in like a plastic. That won't rust. So anything from the barrel will not rust. So in this case, my barrel's covered in plastic. So I only need to focus on basically up here and in the break and the joints. That's where you want to get most, is the joints. So now we've covered that, or where you need to pay a lot of attention to. So what you want is something about that much, a nice little handful, and spray a bit, not too much, on there, and then just go over the whole thing, and make sure you get everywhere, including the like the dials up here. So as you can see, I'm rubbing down all the metal areas to get rid of any potential dirt or rust. Okay, and then make sure you get all up in here on the sides, and then if they're plastic, in this case that mine are, but including it does have metal joints, so yet again you just want to keep making sure that's clear of any excess dirt. So now what we're going to do is we're going to leave that for a bit, roughly a few minutes, and yeah. So now that's sitting there, getting all the dust, all the rust and dirt off. You may need to do it a few times before it actually gets, depending on how long the rust or dirt has been sitting there for. Okay, now it's been sitting there for a few seconds to work its magic. We get another bit. You only going to need 2 pieces, so you can set this aside. And then just go over the whole thing with a dry cloth and wipe it down. Make sure you actually wipe the whole thing down. Don't leave any excess dirt, any excess oil on the top. Damp, always don't rub over the iron sights and the notches, because you will move the notches. If you have a scope, I would advise taking the scope off and then oiling it, and lubricating it, and it just helps you generally get more accuracy out of it and more functionality. Well, it doesn't have your accuracy, but it just basically maintains the rifle. We're basically doing maintenance on the rifle. So now we're going, well, Creeper, is that it? No, it's not, because now we have to work inside the barrel. So you're probably going, well, what does it need work on? Well, hang on a sec. Never mind. So you see where all that metal work inside and down here, that's where you want to oil, including that ball bearing, because that ball bearing actually locks and holds the barrel at impact. Right, I just got my phone with the light. So as you can see down there, there's the ball bearing, which actually locks the rifle in place, the barrel in place, and then further on down where you see the bottom of my hand, that's where it also holds the barrel. Now, oh shit. Now, what you want to do is make sure it's sitting on a nice firm, rest. So, and then in this case, you get just put that down a second. You want to put it on a nice clean surface, i.e. I have a rifle bag with that's covered, so I put that on that. So what you want now is get your cloth or whatever you use to put the oil on, or your WD-40 or whatever. I advise using something industrial because it's more active, but if you want to use WD-40, that still works the same way anyway. So you got your WD-40 or whatever you're using, and just spray it. Not too much, because too much can be bad for your rifle now. The main parts you want to work on is this up area, top area, the ball bearing and the actual breech itself. Dampen it. So as you can see what I'm doing, just dampen the whole top. Alright, so just do that a few times, and then we're going to let that rest for a bit. Roughly 1 to 2 minutes or 60 seconds, depending on what you want to do. You know, you can easily do this in the field. What I mean by that is, if you have WD-40 on you and you see rust or whatever you want off, you know, just use WD-40. If it's loose dirt, do not use oil because there's no need. So what you do is you just get a cloth or you use your hand and wipe that bit of dirt off. So we're leaving that for a few seconds just to work its magic. And then you get your whatever you're using and just dampen where you've oiled. So as you've seen in the close-up here, just dampen it over the top, covering the ball bearing and the rim. So they're the two main key things we want to be working on, and making sure that they're dry, so that you don't get any excess oil down the barrel. I mean, it's okay, but unless you want oil leaking into your bag, yeah. So just double tap that ball bearing, and if need be, gently go over the ball bearing with your finger, with the cloth. Do not go over the ball bearing too hard, because you could either risk tearing the cloth or get some dirt in there, which you don't want. And also try avoiding turning it with your thumb, because you'll wipe the oil off and you have to re-oil it. So now we've got that bit, and you're saying, is it done? No. There's a little notch. Well, in the Ruger, you probably guys won't be able to see this, but in the Ruger, the Ruger Explorer youth rifle, there's a little lock down where the ball bearing sits. That little triangle If you guys see it in there, you want to oil that, but not too much. So, yeah, again, a little bit of oil can't hurt. And what that does is, if it's really coming hard to, break it open, that will kind of loosen it up. So it's pretty easy and a little less effort. So, yet again, not too hard, not too much. So what you do is a little bit loose and damp, dab, and just do break it, unbreak it, break it, unbreak it, break it, and unbreak it. Roughly 2 to 3 times to get that oil going along the ball bearing again, and then rub, and then and then alongside that lock, so that the oil kind of equals out. And then if your tissue or whatever you're using is kind of looking bad, get another one and use it. Use that one. So this is the last bit, and you can go over this as many times as you like. Just don't go over the ball bearing and the lock and the breech. Always just go over the top layer. Do not work on the internals of the barrel or further down, because that only needs to over once. The main stuff that will be affected is the top layer, sights, and everything else on top. So I'll show you a close-up of what you need to oil once the video is done. I mean, sorry if it is pretty poor, far away, but it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I've had to oil this once or twice. I mean, it is going to be pretty hard to get the oil down there. So the best advice is actually using the can. But there we go. And then okay. So what that's done is actually rubbed the oil along the lock. So what's happened is, as the barrel's gone, it's lowered the lock, which allows the oil to run down it. And then you pull the barrel up, which whatever oil's on that top bit of the lock, it will lock up. So then, So anyway, that is basically. And if you see a lot of excess oil, you just dampen that up, and you're good. Now, the best thing to do. This is kind of cocked. So what I'll do is I'll go down the wood later, and or now after I've done the video, and shoot a round off, because it is not good. As we all know, it's not good to shoot dry air through an unloaded rifle. So, it's all pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to do a close-up now on what parts you need to oil. So, yeah, as I said, if the barrel is covered in the thin plastic, which 99% it will be, unless it's compressed air, then it's going to be metal, probably. So, as my barrel was covered in like this thin plastic coating, I only had to worry about up to here. So, where my 2 fingers are, that's where I had to worry about. But, as I said, the outside is more important than the insides. So you can do the outside as many times as you like till your heart's content. Now, the main key things you want to keep an eye on for rust to form, and this will happen once you've been using the rifle quite a lot and you've been out and about. The main bits will get rusty no matter what. The key internals will get rusty, and don't worry about that. Once you've added oil and left it for a bit, it will kind of set in, and the rust will come off, guaranteed. So that's why you use WD-40. So anyway, you want to focus on the ball bearing, the rim, the top of the sights. If metal, if they're not metal, leave them. For instance, my ones are metal, and I did dampen these notches to help me move them about a bit. So, yeah. And then, yeah, you don't want to dampen those notches too much. And if you do, which you have a break open, which you probably do, if you can see a lock in the barrel, and it is hard to, and it is stiff to open, open it. So if you can see a lock in the, hang on. If you can see the lock in there, that's what you want to oil. You know, and then, as I said, break it 3 times so the oil will get done, and then break it again, dampen the ball bearing, and check for any excess oil, wipe the excess oil off, and you're done. So that's generally on how to oil and get rid of rust on the Ruger Explorer. You know, always do your first procedures on, is it safe? Is it good to work on? Is the rifle that rusty? Do I need to oil it? So I hope this helped. If you want more how-tos, i.e. what rounds are best for the rifle, and stuff like that, please let me know. Or if you want to do like a little scenario, like, you know, if the gun jammed, what do you do? And if you want to know how to clear it. I don't have any unclearing stuff, so I'd have to do like a paper cutout and just run it along the side of the out of the barrel. And yeah, so, and don't give me air compress, because this is not an air compressed rifle. And yeah, so anyway, and put that in a nice safe place. There you go, you've ordered your gun. This is the Blinding Creeper, signing out.